My family members were like team Daniella all the way. So they were always like, I hear what you're saying, but what about you? How do I help you? What can I do for you? And a lot of times I would say, I really don't even know. I have no idea. Like, you're not going to deliver my baby for me. I don't know. But at the same time, it almost forced me to be more transparent with them in maybe ways in which Jason didn't like, but it allowed me to let them in to the point where they understood the circumstances. Because I also, towards the end of my pregnancy, I could not, I couldn't drive. I couldn't get behind the wheel. I was too big. Jason had driving restrictions, so he couldn't drive. So how was I going to explain this to somebody and ask them to drive me if I needed to get to the hospital, to if I was having complications or I needed, I needed to go because I was in labor. Like, how would I have navigated that had I not opened up a little bit more? And so I think, when you think about dynamics, and putting yourself first, some of that is unfortunately sometimes flexing or maybe sharing how what's going on in a way that maybe isn't divulging information that I agreed to tell Jason would be private, but enough where at least the people involved would understand, like, hey, something's going on, or Jason can't be in the hospital because his numbers are low, or whatever the case is, to just let them into a point where they could be there for me and be supportive. um, my friends have been supportive, they continue to be supportive, but it took me a long time to open up to them because of Jason's wishes to not share. um, Unfortunately, some information did get out within the community that we had hoped would be private. Um, and I think that kind of opened the floodgates earlier than when we were hoping for. But ultimately, though, that did help a little bit in people being able to provide some additional support because they at least knew what was going on. So I think that, kind of that putting yourself first and letting people in and relying on people for support is so important. It's just trying to understand, who are those people and do I trust them enough to let them in, I think is a big component.